Hello everybody and welcome along to our Tumble Tots at Home session just for babies. If you've not met me before, my name is Julia and I normally run Tumble Tots classes in the Aylesbury area. And we run classes on Monday to Friday and every day we have a babies class. I'm going to turn that down, that's a bit loud. So Monday to Friday, every day we have a class for babies, and our babies classes are aimed at babies who are 6 months and older. So if you've got a little one who is at least 6 months old, up until when they're confidently walking, that's what these sessions are aimed for, and they will be able to join in with everything that we have planned for them today. If you've got a little one who is less than 6 months old, you can still join in, but just be aware that some of the exercises that we do might not be suitable for your baby yet if they've not yet got, they're not able to sit up and they haven't got good head control. You can still try joining them in, but just be very careful that you are supporting their head and their neck in all of the exercises that we do. The last thing that we want to do is for babies to get injured. So but if they're 6 months and older, you can join in with everything that we're going to do today. So before I get going with our warm-up song, you will need something like one of these. These are what we call Limmy sticks. We use these in our classes quite a lot, both with the babies and the older children as well. But don't worry if you've not got one, you can use something like a wooden spoon. The idea is that it needs to have a long enough handle or something that baby can hold on and you can hold their hands over the top. So it needs to have a circumference that's not too wide, about as wide as a finger really. So something like a wooden spoon or a salad spoon or something like that is absolutely perfect. A chopstick usually too small, but anything that you've got, maybe if you've got kind of a drumstick or something like that, that would be perfect as well. So if you've got one of those to hand, do just go and grab it because we are going to need it for our development exercise that we're going to do today. We are also going to be building on some of the exercises that we've done in our earlier videos. That doesn't mean that you can't join in with them today as well, because actually they are suitable for you to do. You can join in today, or you can go back and join in with our earlier videos to build up to what we're doing today. It might seem like a lot to do in all in one go, but don't panic, we can build up to it, or you can join in today if you feel confident to. All of the exercises that we do today are for you and your baby to do at home, however you want to do them and however you feel comfortable doing them. Some babies are more flexible than others, so only stretch your baby as far as they are comfortable to be stretched. Don't overstretch them because it's just going to make them cross. And if they're not enjoying something, don't worry, skip it and move on. In our normal classes, all of the bits that we do today would be split up into 3 different portions throughout our 45-minute class. So we wouldn't normally expect babies to sit through this entire video. So feel free to pause it and move on, do something different, and then come back to it later when baby's calmer and ready to do some more exercises. So don't panic if they don't make it all the way through the video. We don't expect them to. Do it when you and baby are feeling most relaxed and most able to get the most out of it. The most important thing is that you enjoy yourself and that baby enjoys it too. Okay, so before we get going then, we've got our warm-up song to get us going. It's our hello song. It's how we start all of our videos and how we start all of our classes as well. So I've got baby sitting facing you guys so that you can see what he's doing. Obviously if your little one wants to be facing you, or lay down on your legs so they can see what you're doing as well, your happy smiling face is their security. So as long as they can see you and that you're smiling and having fun, they're much more likely to relax and enjoy it as well. So please do feel free to have your baby positioned differently to how I've got mine when we're doing our songs and things. Obviously my baby doesn't move quite like a real baby as well, so just do what you need to do with your baby at home. Okay, so let's get going with our warm-up song. I will talk you through it. It's our hello song. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say hello. So we're going to get them moving. So let's say hello. Can you say hello, babies? We can do a little bit of wiggling as well, a little bit of bouncing up and down, getting them used to the idea that we're going to be moving around a little bit. So give those arms a little wave. Lovely. What we're going to do is we're going to go to give those arms a little stretch. So you're going to bring one arm up and back down again, and the other arm up and back down again, and that first arm up and back down again, and then next arm up and back down. Very good. And we can do the same with their legs, so we can stretch their legs if they're happy being sat up on your lap, or you can lay them down on your legs or on the floor, or maybe on the sofa if you've got somewhere comfy to do it, obviously making sure they're not going to roll off. Lovely. And bring those legs up. There we go, one at a time. Lovely. Nice slow movements, not holding those stretches for too long because we're just getting them warmed up. So very good. can give those legs a little wiggle as well. You can even bend those knees a little bit if they've got them sat, if you've got them laid down like this. Very good. And we can bring those arms across the chest as well, so like they're doing a sideways move. Just get those shoulder muscles moved out. Ready? Very good. And like our song is doing, we can do some clapping. So you can bring those arms in and out, and in and out. Very good. Well done. And we can say hello, so just give those arms a little shake. Get them all nice and warmed up. Hello. Lovely. Pick baby up and give them a cuddle. Well done. That is our warm-up song. So hopefully they've got to the idea that we are moving and wiggling about, and you're going to be helping them do some of those stretches as well. So we have got an action song to get us all warmed up and going this morning, and it is a bit of body identification because it is my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. So you probably know this maybe if you did it yourself as a child, or if you've got older children. Heads, shoulders, knees and toes is a slightly simplified version for our babies this morning. So we're just going to do my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes, and they might need to lean forwards a little bit to reach their toes. If they're not comfortable having you moving their hands to the different parts of their body, don't worry. What you can do is just do it for them, because what we're doing here is working with their language and development as well, getting them used to body identification. So my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. Those are the bits of the body that we're talking about today, and reinforcing the language that we use for different parts of our bodies. Don't worry if they're not getting it yet, they're only 6 months old. It's mostly about enjoying it and getting them moving as well. So again, you can have babies sat up facing away from you if they need that support from their body, or they could be laid down on your legs, or they could be sat up facing you. However baby is most comfortable, you can do this one. So it goes through a few times: my head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. Let's all clap hands together. So again, you can either clap your hands and baby can watch you clapping your hands. They might start being able to copy if they're slightly older, or you can clap their hands together if they're happy for you to move their hands. Some babies don't like that at all. If your baby's one of them, don't worry about it. You can clap your hands. They can watch how you do it because they are still learning, and that rhythmic movement as well is good for those communication skills. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to put the music on. It gets slightly faster each time as we go through. Oh, next one, here we go. Ready? So start with our heads. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. Clap hands, ready? Let's all join hands together. We're going to do heads and shoulders again. My shoulders, my knees, my toes. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. Let's all join hands together. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes. Let's all join hands together. Very good. Give them a clap, give them a tickle. I won't go through that one again because I'm sure you got it the first time. But as I've said at the end of all of our videos, all of our music is available for free on Spotify and Amazon Music, so you can always go and listen to it again. If baby found that one hilarious, again, you can always give them a little tickle as you do head, shoulders, knees and toes. Just have fun with it, really. So we are going to do our development exercises for today. So we will start with our one with our Lummi stick. Don't worry if it feels a little bit out of your comfort zone. If this is the first video that you've watched, join in with the bits that you're happy to join in with. Don't worry about the rest of it. It is something that we've built up to over 3 sessions. So what we are going to do today is our Lummi stick hang. If your baby is 6 months or older and is meeting their normal developmental milestones, they weren't kind of premature or anything like that, and have got adjusted development, then you will be absolutely fine to do this today. It seems a little bit strange when we first do it, but bear with us, I promise you, babies are absolutely fine to be able to do this as long as they are developing normally for a 6-month-old baby or older. So, because what we're going to do is we are going to finish off by very gently lifting them up off the floor by their arms in a hanging position. Again, as long as you do it very gently, make sure that you've got a good grip and you lift them up very slowly, only a very little bit, and then back down again. You won't cause any injury to your baby, okay? So don't panic. I'll start from the beginning. Join in when you feel that you are ready to. So I'm going to go into a kneeling position. and I'm going to lay baby down on the floor. So make sure you've got a nice soft space. Again, you can do this on something really squishy if you want to. So if you've got, if you want to do it on your bed, in your bedroom or something like that, so that you've got a nice comfy space for them to be laying on and lifting them up, or do it on a sofa if you've got a wide enough space that you're not worried about toppling off, wherever you feel most comfortable to do it. So again, my baby doesn't move quite the same as a normal baby does, so in some bits I am going to have to hold him slightly differently how you would hold your baby, but bear with me and I will explain what you need to do. So if you've got something like a lummy stick, a wooden spoon, a drumstick, something like that that baby can hold on to, this works their grip, which is really good for their fine motor skills as well, because it's one of the earliest muscle movements that we learn how to do as babies, is to grip and hold on to things, but we do lose it. We lose the strength of movement if they don't keep practicing it. So something like this encourages that grip position. You are going to put your hands over the top of their, so if you imagine their hands are that way around, you are just going to hold that grip in place to make sure that they are not going to drop. Don't hold them too tightly, because obviously you don't want them to feel uncomfortable, but it's just making sure they've got a good grip and they're not going to fall off and let go. Obviously if they're really not keen to hold on or don't like having your hands over the top, don't worry, come back to it at a time when they're feeling more relaxed and you feel relaxed about it as well, and then you can join in together when you are ready. So I'm going to do it with my baby first. You can have a watch and then join in when you're ready. So TT, my baby, is going to hold onto, I'm going to encourage him to hold onto the stick, and then I'm going to hold his hands over the top. Again, not too tightly, but tight enough so that he's got a good grip. We're going to start with his hands down at his hips, and we're going to say, how tall is baby? And lift those arms right up as far as they will go above his head if he can reach all the way up, or just in front of his head if he's not quite ready. Then from there we're going to do what we did in our last video, and we are going to pull him up to a sitting position. Now again, this is where my baby doesn't bend in the middle, so I'm just going to help him. You would keep your hands on top of their hands and bring those arms in front, ready, so that he is in a sitting position. And again, you're now going to have his arms still in front of his head or above his head, and we're very gently, going to pull him again. I'm going to have to just support him by his head, because his head is really heavy and otherwise it's going to go over. Your baby probably won't do this, shouldn't do this because they're not a soft toy. We're going to lift him up to standing, and then very gently up ever so slightly, and then back down again. Lovely. Now you will do this in one fluid motion. So I've talked you through that and explained how your hands, where your hands should be. In reality, when you do it with your baby at home, it will look a little bit more like this. Obviously without you needing to bend your baby in the middle. How tall is baby? So tall. Up to sitting. Up he goes. And back down again. So it's quite quick. You're literally only holding them up in the air for a couple of seconds at a time. But what you will see is that really great big long stretch. So it's a lovely stretch for their tricep muscles, their shoulder muscles, then all the way down their back, all the way down those muscles of their body. If you imagine actually if you stretched your arms up and somebody picked you up by your shoulders, it's that lovely full body stretch that they just don't have the strength to be able to do that for themselves at this age. So you are doing it for them. Do it a couple of times as long as they're happy to. Again, if they don't like it, you don't have to worry about it. As long as you keep them facing you, lift them all the way up, lots of smiles, and back down again. Again, if they are already starting to stand, then you can gently lower them back onto their feet. They can stand on their feet for a couple of seconds before you sit them back down. If they're not yet weight bearing on their legs, be very careful not to put them back down onto their feet, because you don't want to overstretch the muscles in their Achilles tendon. So again, my baby doesn't bend properly in the middle. Actually, if I kneel on his feet, he bends a little bit better. Obviously, don't kneel on your baby's feet, but so hands on, start at the hips. How tall is baby? So tall. And then up in the air, very good, and back down again to seated if that's where they're most comfortable. And then again, you can lay them back down to the floor. Again, TT is a little bit more wobbly than a normal baby would be. babies, once they get used to this, maybe if you've done it once or twice, they can actually really enjoy it. We see lots of babies in our classes who really enjoy this. They think it's really good fun, because that feeling of being lifted off the ground like that might be something that they haven't experienced yet before. So have a go, see how you feel about it. If you've got any questions, do let me know. The most important thing is that you and your baby are enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, stop, but also make sure the little one has got a really good grip on that lummy stick or whatever you're using. Instead, when you get them up to the sitting position, you can always readjust a little bit and then pull them up to standing up off the floor very gently and back down again. So you're doing it in a really smooth motion. You don't want to all of a sudden jerk them up or pull them up like you're going to fling them up to the ceiling. So as long as you do it smoothly and gently, hold it up for a few seconds and then back down again. So we're not going to dangle them there for half an hour. They should hopefully enjoy it. But yeah, any questions, let me know. If you're not confident doing all of that, you can start with just the how tall is baby, stretching those arms up, because it's still really good for that shoulder flexibility, opening out that chest cavity and giving them a lovely full body stretch. So well done if you've stayed with me all the way through that, thank you. And hopefully your baby has enjoyed it as well. So well done, babies. The next thing that we are going to do is one called the Dolphin. So for this one, we're going to get babies laying on their tummy. So we're going to stretch those muscles on the opposite side of their body. We're going to stretch the ones down their tummies. It's going to work their obliques a little bit as well. And it's going to very gently stretch the muscles in the front of their thighs, which again is something that they perhaps don't get to stretch very often, especially if they are not crawling yet. So again, I will demonstrate this one first and then you can have a go with baby as well. The most important thing with this one is that you don't overstretch baby. So when we are lifting their legs off the floor, we're only doing it literally as much as you can slide your hands underneath. That's about it, because if you do this yourself, any stretch kind of from that hip backwards is quite a big stretch, even if you're only moving a tiny little bit. If you've ever done kind of Pilates or yoga or anything like that, the kind of the Superman pose where you lay on your tummy and lift your arms and legs off the floor at the same time, I always end up demonstrating this in my classes and Emily laughs at me, so if she's watching this she'll be laughing at the moment, but it is that movement. So I'm going to show you with TT first, then you can have a go with your little one as well. The idea of this one is that you end up with them laying on their tummies. They will naturally, probably, if they're at that point, start lifting their head up. If they start pushing with their arms, that's absolutely fine as well, but obviously then adjust how much you are stretching them, because they are already starting to stretch those upper parts of their back as well. If you imagine he's going to lay down on the floor like this, he's not going to push up at all because he's a soft toy, but your babies will probably start to lift their neck and their chin up already, so they're already starting to stretch and use those muscles in their upper back, their shoulders and the top half of their back down to their lower back as well. And what we're going to do is very gently increase that stretch by just putting their hands underneath. We're not going to do it from the side like that. What you would do is have baby facing away from you. So what you can do is always put a little toy or something, obviously don't drag your baby like that, have a little toy or something in front of them so that they've got something to look at. If they start just trying to roll over straight away, don't panic, do it at a time when they're nice and relaxed, maybe after a bath or something like that, when they're not feeling as fidgety and trying to get away. And obviously don't do it while I'm chatting away like this, because they'll just get bored and they'll want to go off and do their own thing. So I've maybe got a toy or something in front of them. He's going to start trying to look for it, maybe reach for it as well. That's absolutely fine. All I'm going to do is very gently slide my fingers underneath his thighs and lift slightly. And there is hardly any lift. You can't see my hands moving at all because it's literally, it's moving maybe a couple of millimetres, because actually your hands underneath their thighs are enough to lift and even give them that little tiny bit of a stretch. Remember how small they are, and if you feel comfortable just giving them that little bit of a stretch, they will probably arch their back as well to see what you're doing, and in response to that stretch, and they're having to balance a little bit more as well because you've moved some of that stability from their legs. So this is an all-round body movement. As much as it doesn't feel, we don't want to lift them off the floor at all. You shouldn't see their hips coming off the floor. They might bend their knees, but it's unusual that they would actually, because you're stretching those muscles in the thighs, and bending that knee would increase that stretch again. So be aware of that. If they do all of a sudden flip their knees up, put them back down to the floor, because actually we don't want to move them. So it is literally a millimetre off the floor, not even a centimetre, because it's quite a strong stretch as it is. But what you will start to see is obviously as baby is stretching up a little bit as well, as you put your hands underneath and just even lift a very, very tiny amount, it is engaging those muscles in their bottom and the backs of their legs as well, because they're having to shorten, and it's stretching those muscles along the front of their thighs. Don't hold it for too long, because again it is a muscle that stretches quite easily, and you don't want to overstretch it and make it sore for them. So I'm going to do it. If you've ever done, it's that movement where you lay on the floor. I'm trying to see where you can see me now. There we go. If you lay on the floor like this and imagine trying to lift your feet off the floor, your feet and your knees, you can see there's hardly any movement. I mean, I'm not amazingly flexible anyway, as you can probably see from the size of my bottom, but if you very gently, I'm going to run out of space, hang on. If you are trying to just lift your knees off the floor, that's basically what we're doing for baby, and it's engaging those muscles in your lower back and your bottom, and these ones in the backs of your thighs as well. I've forgotten what they're called. And it's literally, that is the movement that you are doing for your baby. So you're not massively lifting, you know, you're not going to put them down on the floor and lift that leg right up there like that, because that's just not, it's not going to be comfortable for them. It's going to really hurt them actually. So really, really small movements for them, but it is really going to work those muscles in the bottom and the bottom of their back as well. I've chatted for ages again, but I wanted to make sure that you knew what you were doing. So again, any questions, let me know. And it's called the Dolphin, and you can sing to them while they're doing that, because again, they won't be able to see you as much. Or unless you've got maybe one of those baby floor mirrors or something like that, put that up so you can pull silly faces at them while they're on the floor as well. The more they can see you or hear your voice and know that you are happy, they will know that they are happy as well. So it's a really good tummy time one as well. I talked a lot in my first or second video about why tummy time is so important, even for older babies as well. So if you want to go back and see that again, I'm not going to say it all again because you're probably bored enough of my voice as it is. So we are going to do our activity song. So our activity today is Round and Round the Garden. Babies, certainly most babies before they learn to walk, start to get the idea of anticipation. So knowing when something is coming. Again, it's a language and communication development skill, and it's a real cognitive skill as well, because they are learning that there's that anticipation in your voice. Something is going to come next, and you start to see the excitement on their voice. So we're going to do Round and Round the Garden, and once they start to know that there's a tickle coming at the end, it's so much fun. But they enjoy the tickles anyway. So we're going to do it first on their right side, or whichever hand you would like to do, and we're going to do Round and Round the Garden on their hand, creep it up their arm, and then you can either tickle them under their neck or under their armpit, round their tummy, wherever they like to be tickled. Do it wherever your baby is most comfortable. Again, I'm sitting with my baby on my lap, but you could have your baby laid on the floor or on your legs or something like that, or even just sitting facing towards you if they're an older one as well. Should we do it together? Ready? Round and round the garden like a teddy bear. One step, two step, and a tickly under there. Very good. Shall we do it on our other hand as well? Ready? Round and round the garden like a teddy bear. One step, two steps, and a tickly under there. Tickle, 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 tickle. Lovely. So you can do that one with your baby as many times as you would like to. My baby doesn't respond to it very much, so I'm just going to do it the 2 times, but you can do it lots of times as well. You can do it round their tummies as well if they're not comfortable having their hands tickled, or if they're still quite a young baby where their hands are still closed up a lot of the time. You can do it on their tummies as well, round and round the garden on their tummies, and creep it up to their chins, or creep it down and tickle their feet if you want to. So we have got an action song to finish with, and this is one of our favourite ones. I'm going to hope that I can still fit, because actually we're going to stand up to do this one. It is called 3 Little Men in a Flying Saucer. Now, not everybody knows this one, so I'll go through it first before we put the music on, and I'll stand up in a minute and hope that I fit. So if you want to stand up and hold on to your baby, again, I'm going to have baby facing outwards from me, because actually we're going to move them away from our bodies a little bit as well. But you can do this with baby facing towards you if that's how you'd feel more comfortable. But I'm going to face him away. So we're just going to swish them gently side to side as we sing 3 little men in a flying saucer flew round the world one day. So I'm going to whoosh him all the way around. They looked left and right, although you'll be the other way around, so left and right. But they didn't like the sights, give them a little bit of a wiggle, so one man flew away, and we're going to push them around again. Whee! Very good, and we're going to do that with the music. I'm just going to tip my camera, sorry everybody, so that you don't lose the top of my head. There we go, that's better. So I'm going to pop my music on, And we're going to do this when you understand now why I did it standing up, because it gives you that little bit more space. So again, hold baby however you're happy to hold baby. If they're comfortable being this way round, you could even do it with them laying on your arm if they're still small enough, and you can just rock them slightly, or you can do it with them on your hip and just whoosh them round. However your baby is most confident. This is about you and your baby, not about me and my silly dolly. So here we go.
Playing from Julia's iPhone.
There we go. So we're just going to whoosh them gently, side to side. Very good.
3 little men in a flying saucer flew around the world one day.
Very good.
They looked left and right, but they didn't like the sights, so one man flew away.
Whoosh them around again. Very good. We've got 2 left, so we're going to do side to side again.
Men in a flying saucer flew round the world one day. They looked left and right, but they didn't like the sight, so one man flew away.
There we go again. We've got 1 left.
One little man in a flying saucer flew round the world one day. They looked left and right, but he didn't like the sight,
Give it a wiggle.
and so he flew away.
Very good. Give yourselves a clap. Well done, little ones. Obviously, you can make that wee as big and as exciting as your little one is ready for. Obviously, slightly older ones might enjoy being swung around a little bit more. It's still good development for that vestibular awareness, so that's one of the reasons that we're doing it. So, let's put my goodbye music on. Because that is the end of our session. Sorry, I'm holding my baby around his throat, like you say, he's not a real baby. Don't hold your babies like that. So bye-bye everybody. I hope you have enjoyed our session today. As always, if you've got any questions, do leave me a message or a comment, or drop me an email or a Facebook message, or whatever you feel most confident with, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. This is the 4th of our videos that we've done, so if you've not seen any of our other ones, they are on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, and feel free to look them up. And if you've got older children, we have been doing videos for older children as well, up to about 5 years old, but we've had older brothers and sisters joining in as well, and seeing what they've done. So I hope you've enjoyed our session today. Any questions, let me know, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye.